Hey, Scarefest fans. This is Joe Lewis of Bonehead Weekly with another review. One of the good things about this gig is the pay. But no, seriously, one of the good things about this gig is that the brain trust and leadership of Scarefest lets me do pretty much whatever I want within reason. So this week, I'm picking something that isn't technically a horror film, but it's the most horrific thing I've probably watched in the last 4 or 5 years. So let me give you a brief history. I was in Huntington doing a convention. I was in a hotel room by myself, first time in a year, which was amazing. But I found that I didn't know what to do with myself after 11 o'clock and a few. So they had HBO Go, and I have HBO Max here. And why I decided to do it there, I have no idea. But I turned on a mini series that I know won a lot of awards in 2019 when it came out. And it was everything I hoped it could be and more. It's called Chernobyl. It's a mini series based on the Chernobyl disaster that happened in 1986, April 1986, at the Chernobyl power plant in Soviet Russia. I couldn't imagine a better cast, even though none of them bothered to do Russian accents. They're all British. They all do British accents because they're British. None of them bother to try to speak in Russian a lot. Superbly directed, superbly acted, wonderfully written. And I watched the first episode. I had to do the next episode the next morning because I fell asleep. And I just breezed through the first. There's only 5 episodes, and it's on HBO Max. If you have HBO Max, it's 5 episodes, a little over 5 hour commitment. I can barely remember it. I was 8 years old. And the atrocities of what these people at Chernobyl suffered, of what the firefighters, the first responders suffered, no one would say we had a meltdown and evacuate. It's tough if you have kids. It's tough if you love anyone. It does a good job of not being too punch in the face, especially with some of the children thing, and it'll kind of pan away because you got to remember all these people were affected by radiation. They radiated, and they're uncertain just over the generations how many people it did affect. We know of the hundreds that died within just the first few months. So Chernobyl melts down, and the miniseries is about the meltdown, but it's really about how the people around it investigate it. Main character is Valery Legasov, and I'm not saying it correctly, played by the great actor Jared Harris. Stellan Skarsgård is in this. Emily Watson. Like I said, everyone's superb, and we follow the main scientist as he investigates to see what happened and then what the fallout is. It is horrifying and is heartbreaking. And to me, it is a horror film in the sense of this happened, and it could happen anytime to any of us. Probably you don't live next to a nuclear reactor, but there are several. This isn't pro or con, this isn't political. It's just this happened. Probably should take note of how we should not let this happen again. It's based on the voices from Chernobyl, different people doing their different oral histories. Directed by a guy named Johan Rink, I'm sorry, who I had to look up, and he's a music video director, but he'd also directed The Walking Dead, Breaking Bad, fantastic. It is written by a guy named Craig Mazin. He wrote Scary Movie 3, Scary Movie 4, The Hangover Part 2, The Hangover Part 3, a bunch of crap that Rocket Man with Harlan Williams. You've got to check out Chernobyl. There's a little bit of gore, but it's just so sad, but it's so well made, and it's horrific and it's terrifying. I just can't recommend it enough. I know it's not quite a horror film, but in a sense it is. It was a horrific tragedy. So check out 2019's Chernobyl, all 5 parts on HBO. This has been Joe Lewis of Bonehead Weekly.